The current season of Married to Medicine has caused a lot of drama, but sadly, the show is not connecting with fans as well as expected. Social media is filled with complaints, especially about how some cast members, like Phaedra Parks, are being treated. Fans feel that Phaedra is not being shown in the best light during her second season on the show. One big problem is Dr. Heavenly Kaimes and her choice to invite Apollo Nita to a couple's trip. At first, Apollo told Heavenly that his now separated wife Sharian would not be coming. But things took a surprising turn when both Apollo and Sharian arrived in Key West, turning what was supposed to be a relaxing trip into a drama-filled mess. To make things even worse, Phaedra brought a man she met at La Asha Sweet Tea Lunsford's speed dating event. His name was Jake, and the two got along well. During their conversation, Jake revealed that he knew Apollo. Even though there was a clear connection to Phaedra's ex-husband, both Phaedra and Jake thought there would not be any problems. After all, it had been years since Phaedra and Apollo's divorce, and they hoped the past could stay behind them. However, their hopes were crushed when Apollo and Sharian confronted them about the situation. What Phaedra and Jake thought would be a simple situation quickly turned into a much bigger problem than they expected. Sharian, already hurt and upset about her breakup with Apollo, was not happy to see Phaedra moving on and spending time with someone who was connected to Apollo's past. The tension between these three people has created a lot of drama for the current season, but it has also upset many fans. Viewers have been criticizing how things have been handled, especially when it comes to Phaedra. Many feel she is being unfairly pulled into problems that have nothing to do with her. They do not like how the show is showing her character at this point in her life. While the drama on Married to Medicine is giving the kind of confrontations that reality TV fans enjoy, it is clear that not everyone is happy with how the storylines are going. From how Phaedra is being treated to the heated arguments between cast members, many fans are asking if the drama is being created just for entertainment, even if it means losing the realness that made people love the show in the first place. Fans have gone to social media to share their frustration, leaving people wondering if this season's drama will be remembered for how certain storylines were handled, or if it will fade away when the next season starts. Phaedra has been very open about how she feels about the situation with her ex-husband, Apollo. Phaedra Parks has been very clear about how she feels about Apollo Nita and his estranged wife, Sharian Copeland, especially with all the drama happening on Married to Medicine. Phaedra made it clear that she did not feel the need to care about Apollo or Sharian's feelings, no matter how much tension was building because of her presence on the show. For Phaedra, the issues with Apollo and Sharian were just another part of a long, complicated story that had been going on for years, and she was not going to let their problems control her actions. Phaedra's direct approach became even more obvious when she spoke with producers about the ongoing drama. She openly shared her thoughts, saying that Sharian had played a big part in the breakup of her marriage with Apollo. Phaedra did not hold back, telling producers that Sharian had been Apollo's mistress while Phaedra was pregnant with their youngest child. This revelation added a whole new layer to the already tense relationship between Phaedra and Sharian, showing that Phaedra had no sympathy for Sharian and did not feel the need to tiptoe around her. In Phaedra's eyes, the drama with Sharian and Apollo was nothing new. She had already gone through the pain of her marriage falling apart and did not feel the need to stay quiet about Sharian's role in breaking up her family. Phaedra also made it clear that the timeline of Apollo's affair with Sharian did not only contribute to the end of her marriage, it also made her struggles as a woman and a mother feel less important. Phaedra did not hesitate to speak her truth, saying she had every right to express how she felt. Phaedra believed she had every right to move on with her life without worrying about upsetting Apollo or his estranged wife. In her mind, Sharian's actions, which she saw as a betrayal, had already caused enough pain. Phaedra felt there was no reason for her to hold back when it came to facing the past, especially when it came up again on the show. However, this attitude did not sit well with everyone. As the tension between the cast members grew, many viewers, already frustrated with the increasing drama, felt that Phaedra's honesty only made things worse. But there were also viewers who appreciated her straightforward approach. They saw it as a way for Phaedra to take control of her own story, especially after so much of her personal life had been judged and talked about publicly for years. By putting everything out in the open, including her views on Apollo's affair and how Sharian became part of the picture, Phaedra was sending a clear message about who she was now, as a woman and as a person. She no longer wanted to be a quiet part of a drama that she did not create. Instead, she chose to take control of her story, even if it meant confronting Apollo and Sherian in the process. While some cast members may have disagreed with how Phaedra was handling the situation, she stood firm in her decision. She was not going to let the emotional baggage from her marriage to Apollo or her complicated relationship with Sherian control how she moved forward. If facing uncomfortable truths and upsetting some people along the way was what it took, she was ready to do it. Phaedra believed she had every right to move on with her life without worrying about upsetting Apollo or his estranged wife. In her mind, Sherian's actions, which she saw as a betrayal, had already caused enough pain. Phaedra felt there was no reason for her to hold back when it came to facing the past, especially when it came up again on the show. However, this attitude did not sit well with everyone. As the tension between the cast members grew, many viewers already frustrated with the increasing drama felt that Phaedra's honesty only made things worse. But there were also viewers who appreciated her straightforward approach. They saw it as a way for Phaedra to take control of her own story, especially after so much of her personal life had been judged and talked about publicly for years. By putting everything out in the open, including her views on Apollo's affair and how Sherian became part of the picture, Phaedra was sending a clear message about who she was now, as a woman and as a person. She no longer wanted to be a quiet part of a drama that she did not create. Instead, she chose to take control of her story, even if it meant confronting Apollo and Sherian in the process. While some cast members may have disagreed with how Phaedra was handling the situation, she stood firm in her decision. She was not going to let the emotional baggage from her marriage to Apollo or her complicated relationship with Sherian control how she moved forward. If facing uncomfortable truths and upsetting some people along the way was what it took, she was ready to do it. In Phaedra's eyes, the most important thing was staying true to herself, no matter who might be upset by it. As the drama with Apollo, Sherian, and Phaedra keeps playing out on Married to Medicine, it is clear that Phaedra does not care about what others think. She is using the show to share her feelings and take control of her own story. This approach may not sit well with everyone, but it is also empowering in its own way. Fans of the show can expect even more tension as these long-standing issues continue. Phaedra's bold way of handling things will keep the drama going, making her one of the main people in the spotlight this season. After the big confrontation with Apollo and Sherian over her relationship with Jake, things became even more intense. The situation was already full of tension, and no matter how much Phaedra tried to stay calm, the drama kept growing. After the emotional showdown, Phaedra decided it was time to leave. She made a dramatic exit by boarding a private jet to head home. This showed that Phaedra had enough of the conflict and did not want to stay in the middle of it any longer. As she prepared to leave, Married to Medicine cast member Dr. Jackie Walters, who is known for being calm and collected, tried to talk to Phaedra and convince her to stay. Dr. Jackie hoped that talking things through would help avoid even more drama and bring some peace, but it seemed that Phaedra had already made up her mind. Phaedra knew that leaving would only make things worse, but she was not going to let anyone control her. With determination in her eyes, she made it clear that she was not going to stay in an environment that did not treat her well. "Some people can be played with," Phaedra said firmly, "but I am not one of them." Her words were strong, and there was no room for argument. For Phaedra, this was not just about a simple disagreement, it was about standing up for herself. She would not allow anyone, especially Apollo and Sherian, to control her story or disrespect her. The tension had built up so much that Phaedra felt like she had no choice but to leave. But she did not stop there. Phaedra also shared her feelings about what was going on in Married to Medicine. She told Dr. Jackie that the real problem with the current season was the behavior of the original cast members, who she felt were acting like mean girls. According to Phaedra, the cast members who had been on the show the longest were causing unnecessary drama and making life harder for the newer cast members. Instead of supporting each other, they were focused on creating tension and acting out of their own interests, which made it hard for anyone to form real friendships or grow together. Phaedra's comment about the mean girls showed just how disappointed she had become with how the show had changed. She felt that the focus had shifted away from real connections, and this left her frustrated with how things had turned out. Instead of focusing on real stories and meaningful relationships, the show had turned into petty arguments and made-up drama. Phaedra, who had already been through a lot, no longer wanted to be a part of that kind of environment. She wanted to be around people who were real and respectful, not those who tried to bring her down for the sake of entertainment. Her comment about the original cast members acting like mean girls was something many fans of Married to Medicine also felt. Viewers often said the show relied too much on drama and fights instead of letting the cast show their true personalities. It seemed that Phaedra had become tired of following the story they were creating for her. She decided it was time to stand her ground and speak her truth. Even though Dr. Jackie tried to convince her to stay, Phaedra had made up her mind. All the constant drama, arguments, and back and forth had drained her. She felt that staying on the show no longer fit with her values. Her choice to leave the trip and go home was a big moment for her on the show. It was a clear sign that she was not going to let anyone push her around or treat her unfairly just to create drama. As the season goes on, it will be interesting to see how the others respond to her leaving and if it changes the group's dynamic. Will the drama calm down, or will her exit make things even more intense? One thing is clear, Phaedra Parks does not back down when she feels disrespected. Her decision to leave the trip only made her reputation stronger as someone who refuses to let anyone control her story. Whether people agree with her or not, Phaedra has once again shown that she will stand up for her piece, and that sends a powerful message to those watching. Recently, Dr. Simone Whitmore caused some drama on Married to Medicine when she called Porsha Williams a mean girl. This happened during an honest interview where Dr. Simone shared her thoughts on how the women were getting along. It became clear that Dr. Simone did not have a good opinion of Porsha. She felt that Porsha's behavior matched what she thought of as the mean girl attitude, someone who manipulates, looks down on others, or creates drama for no reason. This comment upset a lot of fans, especially because it seemed to go against the image Porsha had been working hard to build on the show. However, Simone's comment was not just a random thought. It raised a bigger issue that has been building. In reality TV, Phaedra, who is no stranger to controversy, also shared her views during her interview. She talked about how new cast members often have a hard time finding their place on Married to Medicine. Phaedra shared how new cast members often have a hard time fitting in because of how the older women treat them. She explained that the OGs, the women who have been on the show the longest, can sometimes be very tough on the new faces. This makes the newcomers feel left out and unwelcomed, making it hard for them to become part of the group. Phaedra believes this is one of the reasons why many new cast members do not stay on the show for long. Interestingly, Audra Curry, who was once part of Married to Medicine, had similar thoughts. During her time on the show, Audra noticed how difficult it was for new people to be accepted by the veterans. She mentioned that the clique mentality of the original women made it almost impossible for anyone new to feel like they belonged. Audra's decision to leave the show after only a short time seemed to confirm what Phaedra and others had said, leaving fans to wonder if the same issues pushed Audra out. This problem of new cast members feeling mistreated is not just something that happens on Married to Medicine. It seems to be a common theme in many reality TV shows. For example, last season, Married to Medicine star Quad Webb also talked about feeling left out by her fellow cast members. She clearly said that she felt excluded from important moments and interactions within the group. Quad Webb's experience made her think deeply about the challenges other cast members, like Mariah Hook, faced. Mariah had been one of the original cast members, but felt isolated in her later seasons. Many fans believed Mariah had been unfairly pushed out, and now Quad understood exactly how Mariah felt. Quad shared that going through the same kind of treatment helped her feel what Mariah went through. She opened up about how the experience affected her emotionally and professionally. This pattern of veteran cast members making newcomers feel left out or treating them badly is becoming a big issue, not just on Married to Medicine, but across many reality TV shows. More reality stars are starting to speak up about this problem. Recently, Real Housewives of Potomac star Giselle Bryant also shared her thoughts on how Phaedra had been treated. Giselle, who has dealt with her share of drama on reality TV, said she no longer enjoyed Married to Medicine because of how Phaedra had been treated. She even called Phaedra's experience horrible and said the way the other cast members treated her was not acceptable. Giselle's words reflect a bigger issue in reality TV, where cast dynamics sometimes feel more like high school cliques than real, supportive relationships. These struggles within reality TV casts make us think about the culture of these shows and the impact they have on the people involved. There is a growing question about whether the veterans on reality shows are creating a space where only the strongest survive, or if they are shutting out new voices. Are they sticking to what they know, or are they missing the chance to bring in fresh perspectives? This question is becoming more important as many stars from Married to Medicine and Real Housewives speak out about being mistreated. The problems in the industry go deeper than they might seem at first. Even with all the criticism, Dr. Simone Whitmore and the other veteran cast members from Married to Medicine continue to stand by their actions. They do not think of themselves as mean girls. Most of the accusations, which are coming from newer or former cast members, have caused a divide between the more experienced stars and the new ones. In interviews, Simone and her co-stars strongly defend their behavior. They say that their actions are not meant to be hurtful, but rather come from the natural tension that comes with being part of a reality TV show. Simone addressed the situation directly when she appeared on Watch What Happens Live alongside Married to Medicine guest Stacey Rush. The conversation quickly turned to the mean girl label and Simone's complicated relationship with Phaedra Parks. When asked if the cast had been too hard on Phaedra, Simone made it clear that the tension between her and Phaedra was more about the reality of their interactions on the show rather than any personal attacks. In response to Phaedra leaving the show, Simone did not hold back. She spoke clearly and said, "I think Phaedra gave us an unnecessary and unfair hard time." This comment showed that Simone felt the tension between them was exaggerated. In Simone's opinion, Phaedra's actions, especially leaving the show and criticizing the cast, were out of line with what had actually happened. Simone, known for her calm and professional nature, made it clear she did not think the conflict was needed. She believed that Phaedra had made the situation seem worse than it really was. Simone's words also showed how complicated relationships can be in reality TV. Being watched all the time can cause even the calmest people to react in ways that might seem harsh or defensive. Simone has been on Married to Medicine for a long time, and she has faced many tough situations with the other women. This season was no different. The veteran cast members have been on the show for years and have had their share of struggles, both on and off screen. For Simone, the accusations that they were acting like mean girls were frustrating, especially considering the drama that comes with being on a reality show. In Simone's view, Phaedra's comments seemed unfair and out of place given what had actually happened on the show. Simone's comments were not just about defending herself, but also about standing up for her fellow cast members. She wanted to make it clear that the way they were behaving had been misunderstood. Simone did not think their actions were mean or harmful. Instead, she believed that it was all just part of the drama that happens on reality TV. These kinds of interactions happen often on shows like this and sometimes get blown out of proportion. To make the show more exciting, Simone was trying to change the way people saw her and her castmates. She wanted to show that they were not the mean girls people thought they were. She explained that their relationships on the show were not personal, but part of the reality TV world. During her appearance on Watch What Happens Live, Simone also talked about Stacey Rush, who had her own experiences with the Married to Medicine cast. This added another layer to the conversation, as Stacey's views were different from Simone's. While Simone stood by the veteran cast members, Stacey understood the struggles of the new members. She knew how hard it could be to join a group that had already been together for a long time. The difference in how they saw the situation gave the viewers a better understanding of what was really going on between the cast members. It showed how people can have different views on the same events. The conflict between the veteran cast members and the new faces on Married to Medicine is more complicated than it seems. It comes from a mix of personal experiences, show politics, and the pressure to keep the audience entertained with exciting storylines. The label of mean girls and the tension between the cast highlight a bigger issue in the world of reality TV. While viewers love the drama, the cast members often struggle to balance their real lives with the roles they need to play on screen. Simone's comments on Watch What Happens Live were a response to this ongoing fight between what is real and what is made up for entertainment. In Simone's eyes, the drama around Phaedra and the accusations of being mean girls were simply part of the story that reality TV tries to create. But for Simone, that story did not reflect what was actually happening.